So from the sitting position, of course, you can rest your hands in the lap or on your knees, palms up or down, whatever you feel like is going to be the most comfortable for your shoulders. And we can try to feel the inner axis of the spine coming to life. And in each breath is going to allow that to be more and more the case, that you feel a little bit more energized, a little bit more alert as you sit still. You could even imagine the flow of the breathing moving through the spine. Same way you feel the passage of the breath through the nose, in and out. You could get a feeling of motion, the energy in the nervous system. It's that inner axis that we'll use to make a very gentle twist. So before you go, take a nice deep breath in, and we'll turn to the right side with the exhalation, just nice and slowly rotating. We'll hold for just a few breaths. Of course, you can turn your head like you're looking over your shoulder. Feel the rotation. Relaxing your jaw. One more cycle of your breath. So you might go a little farther with your exhalation. And your inhalation to release. Coming back slowly to the middle. Just pause for a second when you arrive. Leaning a little bit hip to hip. Let the shoulders feel balanced left and right. Breathing in to feel that center axis strong and long. We'll turn to the left with the exhalation. And feel your rotation with your breathing. Again, this last breath, your exhalation might take you a little bit farther. And we can use the inhalation to unwind, coming back to the center. Your timing, just pause when you arrive. As you're breathing, we'll join the hands together, prayer position at the heart. And it's in this moment that you might offer any specific dedication, sharing this time with anyone you feel may benefit, friends, loved ones, near or far. We can also hold our own personal intention, point of focus, something to keep our mind and our heart aligned as we move through the practice. And keeping this in your heart, keeping this in your mind, we'll sing just one sound of Om. Full breath in when you're ready. Deep breath in when you're ready. With your exhalation, releasing your hands to the floor. We'll straighten the legs out in front of us, just to lean back onto your hands and release the knees. You can point and flex the feet a couple of times. And we're going to move on to our backs. So when you're ready, you can scoot your hips forward. Just make sure you've got a little bit of space behind you for your head on your mat. And as you lie back, bring the knees into the chest. And we'll give the legs a little hug. Settling to the floor, you can rock from side to side. Some nice, easy pressure to your back. And you'll notice as you squeeze the knees in a little bit tighter, feel the pressure a little bit more toward the ribs. If you loosen the grip on the knees or let the legs drift forward, you'll feel more pressure toward the pelvis, toward the tailbone. And if one of those areas serves you better, right, you get a little bit more satisfying influence, right, you can always stay there or return to that area. Settle the rocking. Just find a place in stillness here in the middle. Lower your feet softly to the floor. When the feet touch down, straighten the legs out along the mat. So moving into your full corpse pose here, separate the feet toward the corners of your mat or mat width apart. Turn the palms open, facing upwards on the floor. Just a moment to rest here In our corpse pose, feeling the back of your neck comfortable. You can always move your chin a couple times side to side to adjust. Notice how the legs naturally rest, the toes kind of tipping out to the side. Maybe they're standing pretty much vertical, feeling into the hips. Just 2 more breaths here, feeling into your back, feeling into the shoulders. You can notice from the heels all the way to the back of the head, the areas of the body that are touching the floor, there's areas of the body on the back that are not touching the floor. And now we'll bring in a little bit of life to our corpse pose. When you inhale, spread your fingers and your toes. And when you exhale, curl your fingers into fists and squeeze the toes, almost making fists with your feet. And we'll inhale to spread the fingers and toes, ankles can flex. And when you squeeze the hands to fists and point the toes, squeezing, you can extend the ankles. We'll go back and forth a few more times, inhaling and exhaling. And we imagine a 5th region at the belly button that is expanding with the hands and contracting with the hands and contracting with the feet. So that area near your belly button expanding like a balloon when you inhale, squeezing tightly fist-like near the pit of the stomach. Feel that completion to your breath. We'll just do this 1 more time. We say 1.5 more times. Last time squeezing into fist. And then let the last thing you do here be the inhalation, opening really brightly. And then from there, just let everything relax, kind of fall away into your corpse pose again. We're going to keep the legs straight, slide the feet together. Bring the hands in, palms flat near your hips. We're going to raise the right leg straight up into the air and hold it. It's kind of an inverted warrior 3 position. So flexing the right foot like you were standing on the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. And with your exhalation, lower the right leg safely and softly to the floor. And then lifting your left leg, holding just for a brief moment while you imagine yourself standing on the ceiling in warrior 3. Big breath in, and your exhalation to take it down slowly and steady to the floor. Right side lifting once again, inhaling on your way up, and then directly back down with your exhalation to the floor. As we alternate left side, right side a few more times, inhaling on your way up, and exhaling on your way down, observing the behavior in your lower back. As the leg lifts, the lower back flattens. As your leg lowers, the lower back arches. And we can add a little bit of pressure and stay constant, anchoring the pelvis, keeping the sacrum firmly into the floor. I like to describe this like you were taking a long walk with a very big stride. And that leg that's lifting is you're stepping forward. And the leg that's on the floor is you're pushing off. So we can almost imagine the leg that's in the floor moving down into the floor as we raise that leg up. And we'll do just 1 more on the right side and 1 more on the left side. And if you're finished here with the last one on your left, we'll find our way into a bridge pose. Walking the feet in, heels to your hips. Bending the elbows, robot-style arms, and then pressing the elbows into the floor to raise the hips. Strong into the heels. Now you can keep the arms here just as they are or link them together underneath you. Straighten the arms and join the hands, either hooking the thumbs or interlacing the fingers. And a really strong pressure to the heels. Feel the thighs nice and parallel. You don't need to lift the hips especially high. You can try to guide more of the pressure to the upper back above the shoulder blades. Maybe a little bit of side-to-side movement with your chin to feel more length in your neck. Steady yourself in the center. Release your hands as you inhale. Then we'll lower the hips with the exhalation. Going down nice and safely, slowly to the ground. Bring your right knee into your chest. Give your leg a hug on the shin with both hands. If it's easier to grab hold of the back of the right thigh, please go ahead and do so. You're just going to give a little extra squeeze, that right knee to your chest. Holding the leg close into your body, let your left knee tip out to the side. A little bit of your half butterfly, half Baddha Konasana. So you're getting a fairly deep stretch to the groin here. Sometimes that left foot, you need to tick-tock a little bit to feel the ankle more comfortable. And as you hug in with that right leg, your right knee a little bit closer to your chest, maybe drifting wide toward your shoulder. Just one more breath in here. And we're going to exhale to lower the right foot flat to the floor. Release your hands to help your left foot stand flat for just a second. And then bring that left knee to your chest, switching sides. You can grab your shin. You can grab your thigh if that's easier. And as soon as you're set with that left leg, your right knee can tip open, right? Feeling that butterfly position, that freedom to the groin. And the more you squeeze with the arms, the more contrast you're going to feel in the hips. Notice how the lower back is more or less flat, entirely grounded into the floor. Maybe just 2 more breaths, really feeling how you can expand your lungs, the ribs expanding into that compression from your thigh. Last breath in here. And let your exhalation release that left foot flat to the floor. And help that right knee up, centered, moving into our bridge. Heels close to your bottom, robot-style arms to start. Heels and elbows pressing at the same time you lift your hips. Again, you can join the hands underneath you, or you can take the arms into corpse pose. So the palms are open toward the ceiling, the knuckles are grounded just off the side edges of your mat, and you can actively press the wrists and the forearms into the floor if you're choosing that option. Once again, our aim is to guide the pressure above the shoulder blades, inching them a little bit closer to the hips. Thighs parallel, you might squeeze them in just a little bit. One more full breath in. And your exhalation to lower. If you have the hands linked, of course, go ahead and let them go. When the hips touch down, we'll straighten the legs. With your legs extended, you can turn the hands in flat near your hips. We're just going to do one more set of leg lifts. Alternatively, you can stretch your arms overhead alongside your ears. Taking the arms overhead, you might hook your thumbs together and put a little tension on the group of the thumbs. Raise your right leg straight up into the air. We'll hold it there. Keep the right foot flexed, strong in your ankle. Bend your right knee, bring it in toward your chest, as high up toward your collarbones as you can manage. Watch what's happening in your left leg. Try to keep it straight. Right leg extending to the ceiling to that warrior 3 position before you lower it down straight as a board, flat to the floor. Left leg lifting. Inhale to lift it up. Bend your knee toward your chest as you exhale. And now you're imagining like you're supporting the ceiling with that left foot, straightening your leg up toward the roof, and then lower it down with your exhalation. So we'll do the breath now. Right leg lifting. Inhale to come up. Exhale, bend your knee to your chest. The strength of the squat in that right leg as you straighten it, inhale, and exhale to lower that leg. That's perfect, you two. Let's lift the left leg coming up. Breathing, bend your knee toward your chest. Fabricate that resistance of the ceiling, pushing the leg straight, and then lowering it to the floor. We'll do a couple more each side, right side and left side, inhaling up, exhale to bend your knee. Keep that thigh high up toward your chest, straightening your leg, and then lower it down. Breathing, so it's 2 breaths for each leg. As you exhale to bend that knee, hugging it in, a little extra oomph. I know it starts to get a little tedious, right? Because that leg that's on the ground has a really big role to play. Last time right side, last time left side. You're doing a great job. There's no rush. It's so worth it to take the time to really articulate each action. And when you're finished on that left side, we're setting up our bridge pose. Feet flat to the floor. You're welcome to keep the arms overhead if you had them set there. Goddess pose is a really wonderful option. As you dig into the heels, we'll lift the hips up nice and strong. If you're linking the hands together, that's wonderful. Walk your feet just a little bit further apart. And press into your heels like you were then going to slide them even wider. And resisting the temptation to let the knees tip in or knock in. Keeping the thighs as parallel as you can. One more full breath in. We'll lower the hips with the exhalation, coming down soft and steady. Once the hips touch the earth, we'll bring the knees to the chest, head to the knees, rocking a little bit side to side. Once you've got your head up, reposition the hands on the backs of the thighs. Keep rocking a couple times. We'll find our balance in the center. Straighten your legs up, and with the momentum of a swing set, you're going to kick the feet forward to rock. If this feels good, you can rock front to back a few more times. We're going to find ourselves in sitting with the ankles crossed, and then what we call easy pose, grabbing hold of the knees, taking the chest forward. Big breath in to lift the heart, to lift the chin, and we'll fold forward, walking the hands to the floor, taking it nice and easy over the legs. Really feel into the lower back. After everything we just did, you might be getting a lot of information out of the stretch here. Walking your hands over to the right side. So lifting the chest just a little bit to clear a little space above your thigh, and then resting your head down toward your knee. It's okay if you're leaning a little bit. The left hip might rise ever so slightly. Just not taking too much advantage of that. Keep breathing. We're going to transition, walking the hands over to the other side. Stay somewhat low, although you might lift a little bit to clear that thigh, your head toward your left knee. Notice in the side body if there's a big difference between the side stretch, right and left, lower back. Speaking to the balance of the hips. Turn to the center, so gently as you come back to the middle, using the arms to sit up, and then with your hands behind you, we'll change the way the ankles are crossed. So simply switching the legs, which one you have in front, grabbing hold of the knees, chest forward, chin up, breathing in. We'll exhale to walk it down, hands to the floor, taking it out in front. Breathing into the back. We're going to walk the hands to the right once again, a little bit farther than you went the first time. So the right hand is going to stay planted on the floor. Your left arm is going to lift over your face, reaching to the right side. So if you were here with me, we'd be reaching to the windows. And then that left hand is going to come down to the floor, walking palm by palm over to the left. Keep the torso long out front, and that left hand is going to be your foundation as you raise the right arm coming up and over your face. Your right elbow can be bent, inhaling, reaching out through the fingers, exhaling to take it down to the floor. One more time to the right. One more time to the left, right? And we feel this movement coming through the side body, all the way through the arms and shoulders. And for your body, it might be highlighted in one particular spot. That's the voice that you want to listen to. The right arm taking its last stretch overhead. We'll bring it back to the center. So from the middle, we'll rise up safely using the arms once again. And then taking the legs out in front. Lean back for a second onto your hands as you uncross the legs. Pointing and flexing the feet. And just look at the feet, just really basic mechanics for a second. So flexing the feet, swish the toes from side to side. And feel how this is a rotation of the knee, right, the lower leg bones, as well as the thighs, right, moving in their socket. And then we're going to stay back on the hands for just a second. Lift your right foot, swing your calf side to side. This is kind of a limited action, but again, it has to do with that rotation. Right? And then put your heel down, move your knee in and out. So this is less of the rotation and more of just a range of motion of the hip joint itself. So we are going to do this on the other side. So apologize if it feels a little tedious, right? But first, we want to swing the calf side to side, that left foot lifting, and just a little swivel so you can feel the rotation to the thigh. And then you put your heel down to move the knee open and closed. And this is fairly standard action, right? We do this all the time with all the poses. I'm just putting a little bit of vocabulary to it. So let's bend both knees, tuck the feet around, and we'll move on to all fours. So as we make the transition to your hands and knees, supporting your body here, we'll find cow pose, looking forward and lifting the chin. We'll inhale first. And then with your exhalation, scooping the pelvis, rounding. As you move, breathing out. Your inhalation, extending, lungs full as you move. Looking forward, shoulders back. Your exhalation to squeeze and round. Go back and forth just a couple times to feel this rhythm. The breath and the body working together. Sometimes it feels like we're matching the breath onto the body, or we're trying to wait for the body to catch up to the breath. Try to see how they can move as one fluid movement, continuous motion. The next time that you have your head lifted, we're going to pause. And this is very specific because we want to remember this for later. We're going to stretch the right leg back with the toes on the floor. And I want you to put your right foot out to the side near the corner of your mat, or maybe even off the mat onto the floor. And then raise your right leg up into the air. So the right leg is off your midline out to the right side. We're going to take the left arm forward, just for a moment, feeling the balance. You can look forward, you can keep your chin up, but of course keep breathing. One more full breath in, then we'll lower both the hand and the knee with the exhalation. You can keep it going, rounding into your cat pose. When you've got your head lifted, once again, the natural flow as you inhale will pause, keep breathing. Left foot stepping back. You're welcome to look underneath and say, okay, yeah, my left foot is near the corner, right on the edge, right in that corner, or just off the edge on the floor. Cow pose as you look forward will lift the left leg. So again, we're keeping that left leg wide off center, the right arm out in front. So you feel the balance, feel the strength. Your right shin, the top of your right foot can press into the floor. Just one more full breath in. You're going to exhale both your hand and your knee, returning into your cat, exhaling all the way. Next time you're lifted with your head, downward facing dog, we'll walk the hands out front, toes tucking under, knees and hips into the sky. With a couple breaths here, just getting your bearings. Any adjustments to your hands or feet, you're welcome to pedal the feet in place for a moment. Finding a nice solid position in your downward facing dog. We're going to remember a few minutes ago when we were doing those leg lifts on our back. And I was describing how we were going for a long walk with a big stride. When you now raise your right leg up into the air, hold it there. And the right leg, even though the right leg is the one that's in the sky, it was the bottom leg from your leg lifts. So can you imagine like you're trying to push that right heel through an imaginary floor? And we're going to set the right foot down next to the left leg and try the same thing on the left side. So take a moment to adjust your hands, get your feet set, and then lifting the left leg up. So we're picturing maybe a little bit of Warrior 3, if we can conjure that image in our mind. And then the back of the left heel is pressing into an imaginary floor. Right? And the more that you lift that right leg stronger in your right leg, the more strength you're going to feel to the left. Your left foot to the ground, and we'll glide into plank position. From your plank, we'll lower knees and hips to the ground into our cobra pose. As the hips touch down, pointing the toes, we'll lift the chest, elbows back, and the neck nice and long. You can be feather light in the hands or be using the arms to support you. In either case, keep the shoulders away from your neck. Nice and strong through the thighs and the buttocks. One more breath in. Using your exhalation, neutralize that back bend. Strengthen the arms, strengthen the core. Downward facing dog. We'll lift the knees, lifting the hips. Just one more breath here. Walking your feet up to your hands, walking your hands to your feet. When you get your legs underneath you, lift your hands for a second to circle the wrists. Circling the wrists around, going the other way. You can let your head dangle. Keep your knees bent a little bit. The pressure in the heels can help a lot. Relaxing the wrists, we'll bring the hands to the hips, standing all the way, head first, take the shoulders back. And as you arrive standing, just let the arms rest for a breath. Getting your bearings in the vertical position, we'll step forward toward the front of the mat. If you're not already there. The feet at the top of the mat will join the hands together at the heart. These half sun salutations will go through a few cycles. Lifting the arms forward as you inhale overhead. Circle the arms wide, coming all the way down into your fold. And then take the hands to the shins, coming up just halfway, that monkey pose, half forward fold. Slide the hands into the fold as you release your head. Circle your arms wide and we'll come all the way up. Inhale to lift. And the hands to the heart, exhaling. Forward reaching, inhale to lift. You can add a little bit of a back bend here. Raise the heart. Circle the arms as you fold. Big swan dive, lead with the heart. Hands to the shins when you get there. Halfway lift. Exhale to dive. All the way to standing. So it's your breath, although you might breathe a little faster, right? It's okay to pick up the pace of your breath. As we continue to move, the pace of the body will follow suit. Exhaling on your way down. Halfway up, shoulders back. Lungs full. You don't need to stay with my voice. It's your breath, it's your practice. Do just one more sequence, one more cycle. Maybe reaching up the highest you've reached. Folding the deepest you can. And just halfway, feel the breath, feel the movement as though they were one and the same. Circle the arms. Stay in mountain pose, arms alongside the body, palms open forward. So the thumbs are tipping open. And this right here, just a very simple action, but we feel this open external rotation to the arms and to the shoulders. And now turn your thumbs in to point at the hips. And then you're going to slide them one over the other on the pelvis. Feeling the strength in your thighs, flex the feet so you can actually lift the toes to help engage the front of your thighs. Squeeze the buttocks and you'll feel how they engage underneath your knuckles. Press your hips forward as you lean back, you can look up. Imagine that you're also pressing your hips into the knuckles. Your head can go all the way back. Keep breathing into the tummy. Use your inhalation to help you stand. On your exhalation, we're going to fold it forward. Bring the hands to the floor next to the feet. Relax your head for a second, but I do want you to look at your hands and your feet, and you're going to line up your hands and feet in a straight line. So the fingers and the toes are in a line parallel with the front of your mat. So like you had 4 feet. Just think about it for a second. Just consider it. All right, great. Now keep your right hand exactly where it is. You're going to crawl the left hand over to the right, out in front, and feeling that side stretch. The left hand comes over to the right side of your yoga mat. Got it, perfect. Now return that left hand back into the row of 4, and then slide your right hand over and across the floor to your left. Keeping those 3 feet, right, including with your left hand and your 2 actual feet. And then we're going to slide the right hand back into position of the 4 feet. Your left hand is going to come over to the right once again. We're just going to go back and forth, a little bit of a flow here. So the left hand comes back into position, the right hand over to the left in front. You got it, that's perfect. Right hand returns into the row, the left arm goes a little bit farther to the right. One more time, the right arm is going to move to the left. Left hand back into the row. You got it perfectly. Let's come back to the center. Let the head rest and dangle for a second. Keep your knees bent, hands to your hips, and we're going to rise up nice and strong through the squat. As you stand up tall, the hands in prayer position at the heart, arms reaching forward and up. Inhale to lift. Big circle coming wide and down to the floor. Step your left foot back. We're finding a high lunge. Keep your knee lifted, the toes on both feet straight ahead, arms up and overhead. You can walk up to your knee or lift directly from the floor. Now we're going to stretch the left arm straight out in front of the chest, palm facing upwards. You can keep the right arm alongside your ear, or you can float it back behind you. Right? This is significantly more challenging for the balance. The palms of both hands are facing upward. If you want to turn and look to the right, be my guest, but take it easy. Arms overhead facing forward. We're going to inhale to lift it, and then exhale the hands down to the floor. Downward facing dog, we'll lift the hips, stepping back. Take a breath here to find your spacing. Your next breath into plank pose. You can move knees, chest, and chin to the ground, or just knees and hips straight away. We move into our cobra pose. Toes pointing to lift the heart. You're welcome to come up a little bit higher. And we are building our flow here, so you can go confidently through these little cycles. Downward facing dog, we'll return. We're going to be stepping the left foot and then the right foot forward. So take the time to get to the top of your mat, one foot and then the other, and then we'll circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands to the heart and exhaling. Let it rest for just a moment, and if you need to step forward, this is the perfect time to do so. Join the hands to start fresh, inhaling as you lift up. Big circle the arms coming down, exhaling. Right foot to that high lunge. Take your time, keep your knee lifted, the toes straight ahead. Walking it up, hands to your knee or directly off the floor. So feel your balance in the lunge first. Your right hand in front of your chest, the arms straight out, almost like you're trying to plug that right arm into the shoulder. You can keep the left arm up, or you start to rotate it, bringing back behind you. Feel your breath, that right leg stalwart, really strong. Both arms overhead, inhaling to face forward, and then we'll exhale to the ground. Downward facing dog, hips nice and high. Take your time in transition. You're welcome to stay here. Child's pose always available. The vinyasa cycle is yours for the taking. You can sub in chaturanga if you're ready. Your upward facing dog if you're feeling it. We'll come back downward facing dog. Right foot, left foot to the top of your mat. Standing strong. Circle the arms to the heart. Let it rest for a moment. A little bit different entry. Circle the arms, grab your right wrist. A little bit higher and to the left. Use your breath, come up to the center, switch the hands, up and over to the right. With your inhalation lifting you, arms wide, folding, exhaling to the floor. Hands to your shins, just halfway up. Exhale down, step your left foot back. This is warrior one. Ground your heel, arms up and overhead. Feel your balance, feel your breath. You might look up. Press into your right foot, straightening that leg. Grab your left wrist. Taking nothing for granted, lean back just a little bit so you can feel the strength in your left leg. And then you tip over to the right, reaching to what would be the window wall if you were here with us. Breathing through the hips. Keep that left leg nice and strong, straight through the knee. Inhale the arms going free and fold. Keep your front leg straight, just a little bit straight. Roll your forehead towards your knee. Take it easy on those hamstrings. Wonderful stuff going on in the calf. Full breath in. Exhale, now bend the knee the rest of the way. Downward facing dog, we'll come back. Inhalation, if you're gonna go, plank pose. Your exhalation to the earth. Your cobra, again, upward facing dog. Feel your breath as you move through. You'll be stepping the left foot and then the right foot forward. One to follow the next, all the way to the top. We'll stand up strong, inhaling to lift. Exhaling the hands to the heart. Rest the arms, mountain pose, palms open, facing forward. Again, if you need to step forward, now is the perfect time. Circle the arms overhead, inhaling, grab your left wrist. Over to the right side we'll go. Breathing, left foot pressing to the floor. Moving up through the center, switching the hands. Reaching to the left. Breathing, of course. Keep your head between your arms. Arms going free as you inhale, wide to the ground. Exhaling. Hands to the shins, just halfway. Right foot stepping when you're ready. Warrior one. Ground the heel, arms overhead. Feel the length, feel the strength. Looking up when you've got your balance. The right foot can be quite strong into the earth. So more specifically, your front foot, that left heel. As you press into it, straighten your leg. Grab the right wrist. Before you go to the left, lean back. That right heel, that right thigh become really, really valuable for your balance as you lean to the left. It's also going to give you more of the stretch, right? It's a very active stretch. Almost using the muscles to press themselves longer. Very much the way I see it. Your inhalation to free the arms and fold it forward. Exhaling, keeping that front leg straight-ish. Fingertips on the ground behind the heel, your head towards your knee. It's okay that the hips are off center, right? It's asymmetrical, very much on purpose. You can definitely square up, opening up through the chest. And let your jaw relax. One more breath. Use the exhalation, bending your knee, and we'll step back, downward facing dog. From this downward dog, let's stay together here. Breathing. We're going to shift into our plank and then lower the knees only. Rock back to lower your elbows. Join your hands together, interlacing your fingers. You might bring the elbows a little bit closer together to accommodate for the chest and shoulders. Stretch your right leg back, and you might look under. So we're doing what we did earlier. You're going to put that right foot on the floor, just on the corner of your mat. Maybe a little bit wider than the corner of your mat. And then look up to your thumbs and raise the right leg. And again, we're keeping it wide on purpose, right? We're very much trying to keep that inner ankle strong and the inner arch of the foot vertical. Hope that all that makes sense to you. One more full breath in, and then exhale to lower the right knee. You can round the back a little bit, lean to the elbows. It's okay if the hips want to tip a little bit side to side. You can again look underneath you as you set the left foot in position. And the toes tucked under with your foot on the corner of the mat or just off the corner a little bit at the diagonal. And then looking to your thumbs, raising the left leg. Keep the pressure in the elbows. Notice that it's off center, right? You want to lean a little more to the left, but try to center it to the wrists. Keep the chest up as you breathe. Your right foot can push, the shin can press, or if you've got the toes tucked under, amazing. Grab the floor with the toes. Bring your left knee underneath, rounding a little bit into cat. Take the pressure off the shoulders, let the hips swing a little bit side to side. Feel that there's some freedom in the shoulder blades, that you could maneuver the rib cage up and down between the shoulder blades. Some pretty interesting action there. And we're going to make our way into dolphin. So set your feet, toes tucked under, lifting the knees and the hips. Keep Utkatasana. Keep the chair pose in the legs. And your Cassiopeia, you've been turned upside down. Right? The pelvis in the air. Nice and strong. You can straighten your legs for sure. Just be mindful that that doesn't put too much pressure in your lower back. Looking to the thumbs, we're going to walk the feet backwards. Walking your feet toward the rear, maybe off your mat. Rocking a little bit forward to your forearms. Breathing. I am going to challenge you here. Step your right foot out to the side. Keep your foot on the floor. And then maybe lifting that right leg, keeping it off center. Right? And then you're going to set your right foot down, bring it back to your left. We're going to talk quickly because this is a lot going on. Left foot stepping out to the side and then raising the left leg. So you're keeping it off center, right? Chest open, ribs between the arms, your left leg to the floor. Bring it back to the center, both knees, hips to the floor. Bring the elbows out to the side and the arms forward, kind of modified Sphinx pose. Bringing your forehead to the floor, pointing your toes. You can tap the feet into the floor, making a gentle sound of rain on the ceiling, or maybe it's a thunderstorm, you can tap pretty loudly. It's up to you how much you want to get going. So settle the tapping, let your heels tip from side to side, very gentle rocking. Although rather than thinking about the heels tipping, we can think about the action from the thigh bones, the hip bones themselves, and that we're controlling the heels from the hip socket. We'll come back to the center, lifting your head to look at the hands. Tops of the feet pressing, the arms pressing like they could drag you forward. We're going to raise the right leg, finding half locust. Flex the right foot, breathing as you press back through the heel and pointing your toes, exhaling to take that right foot down. The right foot presses while the left leg lifts. Flexing your foot and breathing, strong through the buttocks, strong through the knee, toes pointing while you inhale, and your exhalation to the floor. We're going to go a couple more times, right side and left side. You can inhale up and flex, point and lower while you exhale. And this is our walking movement in reverse, right? The leg that's on the floor is responsible to help support that foundation for the leg that's lifting into the air. The right side and left side, just one more time each. Feeling the anchoring, feeling the strength to the hips, breathing into the belly, toes pointing on that left leg for the last one. Bring the hands in to make a pillow. Rest your forehead on your wrists. Bend both of your knees. Circle the ankles around for a couple of seconds. And circling the ankles the other way. Relax your ankles, swing your calves from side to side. Just a couple times left and right. We can feel the momentum as a major influence as we get going. And try to refine the movement so you feel that you're in control of the action from the groin muscles, from the thighs, from the inner abdominals. Right side, left side, last time. Bring it back to the center, lower the feet. And your hands near your chest as we rise up onto all fours. Downward facing dog, you might need to crawl forward a little bit as you get your body set, curling the toes, lifting the knees, and the hips up nice and high. Completing our pattern, we're going to step the right foot and then the left foot forward, one after the other. Then we'll stand up nice and strong. Circle the arms, inhale to reach for the sky, and down to the heart, exhaling. So take a moment as you arrive, standing, breathing, top of your mat. If you're not there already, we'll join the hands, prayer position at the heart. Forward reaching, inhale to lift, exhale to fold. We're going to step the left foot back, nice big step to a low lunge. Put your knee on the floor, you can point your toes, offering a little bit more of a base as we rise up. There are some people that feel it best to keep the toes tucked under, and you're welcome to do so. Arms overhead, maybe looking up when you feel your balance. Keeping your right hand in the air, lower your left hand to the floor across from your right foot, and we'll turn and look and twist as you look up at your right hand. Now, some of you are going to lean a little bit further forward into the lunge. Lift your left foot off the floor by bending your knee. And your right hand is going to go back and grab your heel or your ankle. It's entirely up to you. And keeping the chest open. Be careful that left shoulder isn't taking all the burden. You're going to free your ankle, lifting that right arm up into the sky, and then bring it forward inside the arch of your right foot. Tick-tock the right foot out to the side. Lower your left elbow to the ground. Now, when you lower that left elbow, slide it forward a little bit so you've got a little more length in your torso. And then maybe the right elbow can go down. So your elbows can be in front of that right foot a little bit. Now, if it's too much to go down with both elbows, just stay on the left. Turn to look up past your right shoulder, and then turn to look forward. Now, as you look forward, we're trying to manage cow pose, but the hips aren't going to go. So we're left with the chest and the throat opening. It's entirely up to you if you want to take this last step. You curl the toes and lift the left knee. Right? And when you're in this position, you can actually glide a little bit front to back. using that left heel to kind of pump you forward and back along that horizontal plane. Just for fun, right? The other big piece of this is that the right foot can press down, the right thigh and buttocks can really make a case to clamp into the floor. All right, so this is a lot going on. So if you're finished, right, let's take it down. Left knee to the floor. Rise up first to your right hand and then your left hand. Walk the right foot in a little bit, the right hand on the outside of your leg, straighten the right leg. Ardha Hanuman, you're going to lift the toes and rock back, your forehead towards your knee. Resting it down, breathing. Your left foot, you can have the toes pointed or again, keeping the toes tucked under. Just be here for another breath and a half. Feel the extra stretch. That toes on your right foot could tilt to the right, or you could try to tip them in a little bit to the left. Right? There's a little bit of rotation involved with this that can give you a new insight. So as you come back to the center, we're going to walk it into the lunge. We're stepping back, downward facing dog. Hips nice and high. Take the time you need to set yourself strong here, and you're welcome to stay for a few breaths. Otherwise, we're moving through that vinyasa cycle. Cobra, up dog for your back bend. And we'll meet all of our friends in downward facing dog. From that downward dog, after a breath or two, your left foot and then your right foot will come up to the top of your mat and we'll stand strong. Circling the arms, inhaling to reach, exhaling the hands down to the heart. Take a breath. Just a little interlude before we do our second side. Feet all the way together if possible. Bring your fingertips on your shoulder tops. Keep your chin up and we'll twist just a few times. Rotating left side, right side. And as you feel this rotation with the feet so close together, so narrow, sometimes it feels a little bit too tricky. So you can always separate your feet. We'll slow it down. Come back to the center. When you get back to the middle, lifting the arms alongside your ears. Big breath in, circle the arms folding. Great job. Right foot stepping. Low lunge, knee down, toes pointed, arms overhead. Once you've got your balance, we'll raise the arms. Of course, you can look up to the hands. Keep breathing. And keep the thighs strong, so we're not just resting in the joints. Really powerful engagement to the legs. Your right hand is going to go to the floor. And as you set it down, it can certainly go out wide, maybe even off your mat. As you turn, you can look up at your left hand, reaching, feeling the rotation. Breathing, keeping your chest open. We're going to circle the left. Oh, sorry, we got to do our quad stretch. You're going to bend that right knee and your left hand back to your foot. Feel. Around or this one. Be mindful you're not putting too much pressure in that right shoulder. And keep the chest open. You could look up toward the ceiling, the chin away from the chest. Releasing your foot whenever you're ready. That left arm is going to go overhead to the inside arch of the left foot. Walk the left foot to the side. With a little bit of a wider base, that right elbow can go to the floor, maybe your left elbow. And again, my tip is to bring the right elbow forward so that you're accommodating the length from hip to armpit. Elbows on the ground and you can look forward. Breathing. Turn to look up past your left shoulder for just a moment. Open up a little bit deeper into the squat, into the lunge, squat lunge, elbows to the ground. Again, cow pose, but the hips won't go. If you're going to add the right leg, you curl the toes and lift the knee. And there's a potential that you could glide a little bit front to back. You could rock a little bit on that horizontal line. Through the heel, through the toes. The extra pressure to your left foot, right? That left heel grounded. You can feel the strength coming out of the buttocks, out of the hamstrings. Incredible stuff going on in the groins. Your right knee to the floor, your left hand, and then your right hand propping you up. Ardha Hanuman, we're going to rock the hips back. It does help to move the left foot a little bit to the center as you shift back into the hurdler stretch. The forehead towards your knee, And breathing into the hips. Again, that left foot you could tilt a little bit from side to side. You could let it rotate the lower leg on its angle, feeling that action through the hip socket. Take a moment to come back to the center, and then leaning forward into the lunge. Left knee bending, stepping back, downward facing dog. Hips nice and high. Breathing. Let's move through together. Plank pose to the ground, knees and hips to the floor. Sphinx pose modification, the arms walking out front. Keep your elbows on the floor, but as straight as you can have them. However, you might want to keep some support to accommodate for the chest, keeping the shoulders up a little bit. The right leg is going to lift again, half locust. Flex your foot and bend your knee. Raise your right thigh up just a little bit higher. Straighten your leg like you were stomping into midair and then pointing the toes before you set it down. Your left leg is going to come up. Flexing, bending, and then keeping the thigh a little bit higher. Hips on the floor. Straighten your leg, breathing in, toes pointing. Set it down. Now, keep your left arm out front. You're going to bring your right hand back near your shoulder and roll onto your left side. Super duper. Now bend both of your knees like you're coming into a kind of squat position, like you want to do chair pose. Yeah, your right hand is in front of you. That's perfect. Now keep the heels together. You're going to open the right knee up just a couple inches and then set it back down to your left. Inhaling to open the right thigh, just raise it up and then lower it down to clamp the knees together. Keep the feet flexed, keep the inner ankles, the inner heels touching as you raise the right knee up and then close it down. I'm just going to do two more of these kind of clamshell action, right? Opening and closing. And you can imagine that you've got the thigh master between the knees or a yoga block between your knees that you were completely crushing, right? Just going completely through that mechanism. Now, this is going to be a little challenging. Keep your knees together. Keep your knees together and raise your right calf, right? So it's a little bit knock-kneed. Keep the right ankle flexed, pinky toe edge sharp like a knife into the sky, down and up 3 more times, right? There is gold, right? Once you lift the edge of the foot, it comes up and it reaches a particular ceiling. And right there, you can really interact with the outer hip muscles. Just one more time with that right foot. I know it's really weird, but you're doing a great job. You know, we're gonna let it rest. So look up to your left hand, roll to your tummy, slide the right arm forward, keep yourself propped up. You can walk the legs together and then roll over to the other side. Bend the knees. You slide your legs up a little bit. You can rest your head on your arm. Your left hand is gonna stay in front of you. With your feet flexed and the legs in the squat position, raising and lowering that left thigh. Okay, so you're opening and closing through the groin muscles. And it's always amazing to me how just after a few little repetitions of this, we can start to fatigue. Right? Because we're using those finer, fibrous muscles in the groins, those rather, we wouldn't say insignificant, but certainly we don't address them all the time. Smaller, less obvious muscles. And keep the knees together. And again, keep the knees together. You're going to open the calves, right? You can press the right leg into the floor with just as much effort that you're using to clamp the thighs together. And then when you lift that left foot in a pinky toe edge, kind of knife edge sharp into the sky. And just as soon as you get the control over it, you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. Right? So last time with that left foot coming up. Looking up toward your hands, you're going to roll onto your abdomen. Hands near the chest, we're coming up onto all fours. All right, now, this is the one I really wanted to show you all this afternoon. So we're going to do this together. All right, now the hands are on the mat. You're going to step your right foot back toward the corner of your mat, right, on that edge, right, maybe just off the corner. Take your right hand And you're going to put it directly in front of your left hand. And then you're going to raise your right leg into the air. You need to shift forward into your cow pose. I want to encourage you to lift the chest. Your left shin can push into the floor. You're doing amazing. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale to lower the right leg. Slide your right hand over into cat and cow. You can go through it once or twice. You say, I don't even know what just happened. But cat and cow is familiar, so I'll come back home. Now we're going to look forward. First, the left leg steps wide onto the floor. Toes just off that corner. Your left hand goes in front of your right hand. You need to rock forward slightly to raise the left leg. Right? But keep the chest open. Even though the arms are narrow, there's less of a space for the heart to come through. But lifting the chin anyway. And that right shin certainly has a role to play. Sometimes you might even think the right leg is working harder than the left. Now we're going to set the left foot down, the left knee down. Cat and cow 4-point position. You can round and arch. And yes, we are going to do that one more time. And yes, I am going to make it harder. So when you look forward the next time, the right foot steps wide. Toes on the floor to start. Now, if you want to go harder, the right hand comes behind your left hand instead of in front. And then you raise your right leg. And you tell me if that's easier or more challenging. I think I find it harder, but I understand why you might say, oh, that's actually easier. Breathing. Oh, hey, right knee down. Right hand out. Good job. Last one. I promise. If the wrists are suffering, I apologize. Bring the hands a little forward. Your left leg out to the side with the toes on the corner, right on the edge of the mat. Your left hand behind your right one if you're challenging yourself, and then the left leg lifting. And it's so tempting to move the left leg back to the midline. Keep it out wide. You know, a tricycle is much easier to balance on than a bicycle. Right? We'll take one more breath, maybe lifting the chest and then lowering the knee. Wonderful. Downward facing dog, thank goodness. Curl the toes, hips into the sky. Let's walk it forward from here, toes to the hands, hands to the feet. Hands to the hips when you're ready. We'll stand nice and simple. Bring the head up, shoulders back. And as you arrive, let it rest. Stepping forward to the top of your mat. And I'm hoping that what we just did is going to be informative now as we take our last cycle here. Hands at the heart will lift up, inhaling a little back bend. Circle the arms wide into the fold, exhaling. Left foot to warrior one. We'll step back, nice big step, ground the heel, and the arms overhead. Straightening your right leg, inhaling, turn to the left, exhaling, the hands to the hips. Turn the right foot in so the feet are parallel, and then lifting your chin, chest up as you inhale, and we'll fold forward, exhaling, the hands down to the ground. With your hands to the floor, bend your right knee, shifting a little bit to the right, and then bend your left knee, shift a little bit to the left. And then if this feels good, you can go side to side a couple more times. But you might be feeling like you want to stay in the center, in which case you're welcome to do so. Grab the heels, grab the ankles, and find a place of stillness in the middle. Just 2 more breaths in the pose. If you're still moving, that's fine, right? If that's what feels best for you right now, that's very much what you should be doing. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders. Preparing to stand up, find the pressure in the heels, hands to your hips, head lifting, torso rising. So making our way into triangle pose, turn your right foot forward, the toes point straight ahead. That left heel can slide back slightly on an angle with the arms outstretched. Looking to the right hand, reaching long, your right hand to your shin. Take your time, finding your balance before you look up. I'm hoping we're able to access the outer glutes, right? The tops of the thighs. what we were using for those leg lifts and our balancing, we'll feel a little bit more stable here in our triangle. Stretching that left arm forward, overhead to the floor. Fingers around that front heel. Slide your left foot about 6 inches forward, and then a little bit over to the left as well. Place your left hand on top of your right foot on the front of your shin or ankle. Your right hand coming up to your hip. And then we're trying to find our cow pose looking forward, but again, the hips don't really go. So it's up to the chest to make up the distance. Turn to the right, you can lift your right arm into the sky. Revolve triangle, amazing effort. Keep that left heel strong. Wonderful line of balance, you all. Really great. Big breath in. Exhale the right hand coming down. Downward facing dog is where we're headed. And you might take 2 steps as we shorten things up. Again, you're welcome to stay here or move through the vinyasa cycle. Last couple of opportunities here as you move through cobra, upward facing dog, coming back, downward facing dog. Super, y'all. We're going to be stepping the left foot and the right foot to the front. Circle the arms to stand. Inhaling as you lift and exhaling to the heart. And then rest. Top of the mat to start fresh. Our last cycle. Hands together, inhaling to lift. Circle down. Right foot, warrior one. Nice healthy step to the rear of the mat. Heel grounded. Arms overhead. Big smile. Wonderful effort, you all. Pressing into that front foot. Inhale the legs straight. We'll turn to the right. Hands to the hips. Exhale. Feet coming in parallel. Arms behind your back, interlacing the fingers. Get a nice little twist going to open up the chest, the shoulder blades together. Pause in the center, bend your knees, and then fold. Knuckles away from the hips, arms into the air. Relax your jaw, relax your forehead. Keep a solid grip to the fingers. You can turn and look left as the arms swing right. Turn and look right as your arms swing left. If it feels good, you can go again, right side or left side. When you get back to the middle, keep your hands together before you lower the arms. Once you've got the arms to your back, then release the hands to the floor. Turn the toes out just a couple inches, bending the right knee, follow the toes. And then bend your left knee, follow the toes wide. You know, some of you want to go into these lateral lunges with the squats, dancing that little jig. So when you go to the left, for instance, the toes on the right foot can tip up toward the ceiling. And you get a little bit more along the back of the thigh, right? A little bit more through the groin. If you're taking this option, I really recommend to keep the pressure in the heels and for sure using the support of the hands. Right side, left side, just one more time if you've got this going on. We'll meet you back in the center, Prasarita Padottanasana. The feet more or less parallel. And just a couple of breaths, your hands, maybe your elbows on the floor. Your elbows on the floor. Awesome. Great job. Breathe in. Now, before we actually move to stand up, feel the strength in your thighs as if you were going to lift yourself almost suddenly, just as if. And then you can relax the effort. It's amazing that you can just turn on that impulse, right? This is a miracle almost of your capabilities. Hands to your hips, rock into the heels, head first. Now we'll stand, using that strength more than just potential. And you're going to be turning your left foot forward for our triangle pose. So take a moment to make the adjustment. You can certainly look down to orient yourself. The right heel gets a little bit of a steeper push back, the arms outstretched. And when you're ready, inhaling to glide out, and further out over to your shin. Right arm into the sky. Feeling the breath open through the chest. Balance to your neck. Big circle with that right hand overhead to the floor. Fingers around that front ankle and pause here. Squaring up the hips level with the floor. Your right foot can slide forward a few inches and then also out to the side a few inches. Your right hand onto your ankle, top of your foot, front of your shin, your left hand to your hip. Before you twist all the way, try to look forward in front of your toes a few feet, then rotate. With the chest open, that shoulder should feel a little bit more freedom, opening up into your triangle revolve. Keep breathing the length of your torso from the top of your head back through that left hip. Move the balance really strong. Right heel engaging the floor. Big breath in. Your left hand to the ground as you exhale. Again, downward facing dog, we're stepping back. Got time, maybe 2 steps. Each stay with me. We shift forward to our plank, lowering knees and hips to the ground. Bringing your forehead to the floor, joining your hands behind you, interlacing the fingers. Hooking the thumbs works really well. We're going to raise the chest and the head. Reach back through the knuckles, lifting both of the legs. You can flex your feet, bow pose variation. It's up to you how high you want to lift those legs. Keep the hands just a couple inches off your tush. 2 more breaths into the belly. Keep it nice and strong through the back. Full inhalation, and let your exhalation take you all the way down. Bring your hands up near your chest, rising onto all fours. Super duper. Now, getting the knees underneath you, we're going to walk both of the knees over to the right of your yoga mat, and then lower your hips to the left. So your thighs are going to end up perpendicular, or we could say parallel with the top of your mat. Stack your feet so you can flex your feet. Then we're going to lower down to the left elbow. If you want to challenge yourself, your fingers on the left arm are pointing forward, or you could plant the left forearm across your mat. This is going to be a little bit kinder to your chest. The right arm is taking on goddess pose. And we're going to open up through the chest. A nice big breath in as you open up, and then exhale to close it, coming all the way down. We're going to do this a couple more times. We're going to open up through the torso, finding that kind of goddess pose as you open up through the heart, and exhaling to close it down. Remember, your bottom arm is really important, right? You engage the floor with that left hand, with that left elbow. And depending on its position, this thing becomes a little bit more challenging. Just one more time, open and close. Keep the feet clamping, the thighs nice and strong, and then lower it down. It's nice and easy. Your right hand's to the floor, rising up first to your hands. Rock the hips away from the floor as you lean on your knees. Walk the knees through the center, all the way over to your left. We're going to go directly to the other side. The hips lower down to the floor. Flex your feet. If you line up your shins parallel with your mat, you're going to get, or with the edge of your mat, you're going to get even more of a solid structure, this right angle. As you lower your right elbow, your forearm can be out front or across your mat. The left arm takes on goddess pose. As you open and close just a few times with your breathing, right? You can exhale to close it down, opening up the upper back. And when you inhale, you can really open it up. And as simple as the action may seem on the surface, if you start to really engage the floor with that right arm, keep the chest open. Likewise, you can hug the thighs into the earth. You can hug the thighs into one another. The ankles can stay flexed, and the feet can stay flexed. And we'll keep it with this variation for today, right? Just opening and closing one more time. When you close, you can lower that left hand underneath your chest. We're going to rise up first to the hands. It's kind of awkward. Lift the hips straight away as you come off the floor. Perfect. Downward facing dog. Step it back. Hips into the sky. And breathing. You're going to be stepping the right foot and the left foot to the top of the mat. You could walk. It works perfectly. Accomplishes the same. We'll stand, circling the arms, coming all the way up. Big breath in as you reach for the sky. Bring your hands together at your heart. Let the arms rest by your sides. Separate your feet so the toes are pointing out left and right. Just a few squats, lifting the arms straight up alongside the ears, breathing in. Exhale the arms in front of the chest, just halfway down. Stay in your heels. Inhale, straightening the legs, arms up alongside the ears. Exhaling into your squat. Keep the thighs open. You can always adjust your feet. We're going to do about 3 or 4 more, depending on the pacing. Down with your exhalation, up with your inhalation. You're welcome to go as deep into the squat as you're able, as long as you can come back up. It's no problem. If you feel any resistance, just stay a little bit higher. You don't have to go so deep. Last one, down and up. We'll stay down the next time that we're down. And the hands can go to the floor in front of you or on the floor behind you. If the arms are in front of you, bringing the hands together with the elbows pressing on the inner thighs and the inner thighs clamping. And if you've got your hands behind you, simply flex the ankles, pressing into the heels. And that'll activate the same muscles on the inner thighs that maybe the elbows are giving some resistance to. All right, so if you've got another breath, that's great. But we're moving to the floor. You can support yourself with your hands behind you or simply let go and roll. Grabbing your thighs, you can rock front to back a few times. We are going to stay sitting and taking the legs out wide. What we call Upavishta Konasana. We're going to do a little bit of a prep. Now, this is, I think this is a really big deal. For some people, it might be like, okay, what's it all about? But it seems pretty important. With the feet flexed here, with your hands behind you, turn the toes to the right. So the right foot's going to turn out, that left foot is turning in. And then we're turning the feet the other way. So another look at the rotation. And you might notice that one leg has a little bit more rotation one way, a little less rotation the other way. Again, turn to the right, and then turn to the left. All right, super. Now, bring your hands up close to your tush so that you can lift your butt off the floor. Keep your feet flexed and you can bend your knees. And already you're like, this is already too much, just sit down. Turn the toes to the right. And you're going to try to rotate the hips over to the right as well. And then keep the butt off the floor as you rotate through the legs, turn the toes to the left, and the hips turn to the left. You want to go again one more time, right side? You can look back. Careful. Right side, left side. If you want one more, nobody's going to stop you. But it's a lot going on. Once you sit down, we'll take the hands in front of the hips, chest up nice and high. Then keep the feet flexed, breathing in, and then walking the hands forward. Use your arms as much as you need to, your forehead to the floor. Perfectly good option if you take your hands behind you, using the fingers to press the floor down and away. That'll encourage your head a little bit forward and to the floor. Welcome to bring the hands out to the feet. Keeping the torso nice and long. We'll be here a few more breaths. Relax your jaw. Keep the torso strong. The abdominals have a very important role to play in holding the hips in position. You can certainly use the core to actually protect those groin muscles from overstretching. Before we rise up, bring your hands near your shoulders, pressing the floor away. And we'll lift up nice and softly. And before we leave this pose, we've got a wonderful opportunity for a little twisting. So keeping the legs strong and flexed, turning to the right side. So your left hand can go to the floor in front of or in between the legs, your right hand behind you. If you want to go deeper, your left hand comes all the way to your right thigh, and you use that for a little bit of leverage to rotate a little farther. When you release the twist, you can float the arms all the way through center, twisting to the left. And again, that right hand can stay between the legs in front, or you can reach it over to your left leg and help a little bit further rotation. One more breath. Bring it back to the center. Hands to the inner thighs, lean back a little bit so you can bend your knees more easily, slide the feet, and then walk the feet together. Grab hold of the knees with your arms, let your head rest toward your knees. Just breathing into the hips. Don't really need to do much in this pose, but if rocking a little bit, if it feels good, by all means. So we're moving to our backs from here. When you're ready, lifting your head, you can grab your thighs, grab your shins, and roll down nice and safely to the floor. Touching down to the ground, lower your left foot flat to the floor. Your right ankle is going to go across your left thigh. Figure 4, quarter pigeon, what have you. The left leg lifting so you can grab your left thigh. Using the arms to hug in just a little bit tighter if that serves you. Your right elbow can press against your right thigh, offering a little bit of external rotation as well as opening that hip. I've been experimenting with a little variation here. If you take your 2 hands and grab your left shin, and then use your hands to create a kind of ceiling, push your left shin into your hands. So your hands are not going to let that shin go any higher than parallel, any higher than level with the floor. And very often that will create then a necessity for the hips to go a little bit deeper, to release a little more. That means the stretch goes a lot deeper, so you can always back off. 2 more breaths. Remember earlier how we were bringing the knee to the chest, right? The strength and the effort to create that action. A lot coming from the core. Lower your left foot flat to the floor. Slide your right thigh all the way across your left thigh. Tip both of your legs to the left. And your right arm can stretch out wide to the side as we move into the twist. You can look up toward the ceiling, but you might have your eyes closed. See if you can find a little bit more space to the upper back, the shoulders a little wider, a little broader across. Anything fishy is happening in your hips or your knee, you can always unhook the leg, or if you straighten your left leg a little bit, sometimes that takes some of the pressure off. Just options for you. Maybe using the left hand to unwind. You can keep that left foot on the floor as you return the legs to neutral. Stretch your right leg up to the ceiling, grab your thigh for just a moment while you circle the ankle and twirl the foot clockwise and then counterclockwise. And then we'll lower the right foot, placing the left ankle on top of the right thigh. So switching to that figure 4 on the other side, grabbing hold of your right leg with both hands. As you hug in, using that left elbow for a little bit of external leverage, rotation, kind of smear across the thigh. Of course, using your breath to help you balance and discover a little bit more what's happening in the hips. If you're experimenting with my earlier suggestion, you can grab your shin with both hands. And then holding onto the shin, keeping the strength pulling down, you can press up, and just that extra effort show you a little bit more from the hips. Sometimes it shows us a little too much, so always back off, making it in manageable bites. You might feel this more significantly on one side versus the other, so if you need a little bit more time here, that's great. If you're ready to come out of the pose, simply release your hands softly, right foot to the floor. Slide the left thigh all the way across, and then both legs over to the right side. Your left arm can roll open to the side, a little bit of goddess pose, maybe to the elbow. And again, either keeping your face toward the ceiling or maybe even looking to the right. Chest open, you can wiggle the shoulders a little bit. We have certain muscles that are exposed on the outer hips here. And for instance, that right hip bone is taking lots of pressure to a muscle that usually doesn't see the light of day. So we can also understand the pose from that perspective. You're using the floor to massage the muscles, so having a very significant influence. You've got another couple breaths. You're happy here, great. If you're ready to release, your right hand and your inhalation can help you unwind. Unwrap the legs, left leg to the ceiling, circling the ankle when you get there. And we'll finish with our happy baby, bringing the knees into the chest, head toward the knees. You can reach out to grab your big toes, opening up just halfway. You're welcome to take other variations, grabbing the thighs, grabbing the calves. If you want to make a little experiment with what we were doing a second ago sitting, flex the feet, turn the toes right, turn the toes left. You'll feel very similar action to the groins, to the thigh muscles. It's just to play around, just to see how it all connects. But if there are other things you're focused on here, like your breathing, that's as it should be. From here, we're making our way into Shavasana, our corpse pose. You can bring the feet together, the knees together. Variations are also welcome. Legs up the wall if you've got the space. What we call the crooked corpse pose, where the knees are together and the feet are flat. The arms can rest out to the side. And of course, if you want to grab a blanket or a pillow, you're welcome to support your body with any of those props. As you settle into the ground here, first making any little adjustments, rocking the hips, rocking the head, and feeling yourself just as comfortable as could be on the floor. Very much like to acknowledge the support from the ground. And, subconsciously, your body knows that it has this very firm and stable foundation. And if we then acknowledge that consciously, it really helps and contributes to our ability to let go. Sometimes we feel that relaxing the body is easier after having done all the work, right? Having made all the movements. We can let go a little bit more easily because of the attention and awareness we've provided to all the joints, all the muscles, all the bones. You can continue to breathe consciously, deliberately, expanding with your inhalations, and feeling the strength to your exhalations. As if you could breathe to your fingers and your toes in real time. No need for the circulation. No need for time to bring the breath to your fingers and toes. And in the same way that you can inhale to your extremities, exhaling from the fingers, from the palms. When you breathe out, drawing the energy from the feet, from the toes. Perhaps just one more breath with that kind of mentality, that you could inhale all the way to your fingers and toes, the top of your head. Exhaling from those far reaches. And as you let your breath go, letting your body release as well, the hips and shoulders completely relaxed. All the muscles of your face your chin, your jaw, your cheeks, and your forehead. And finally, letting go from the very top of your head, feeling your whole body, every cell, very much alive, and at the same time, completely relaxed, very deeply at rest. Allowing your body to remain still, returning your awareness to your breathing, feeling your inhalations and your exhalations as a movement of your whole body, your breath breathing you. Visualizing the flow of your breath through your arms, through your legs, feeling yourself at home and complete throughout your body, feeling yourself at home and complete on this beautiful earth, experiencing the floor and the ground below, feeling the air and the sky above, making simple movements into the stillness, wiggling your toes and your fingers, letting your head roll gently from side to side, moving in slow motion to extend your arms overhead alongside your ears. A couple yawning breaths, climbing an imaginary ladder with your arms right and left reaching along the floor. You can point and flex your toes. Walking the feet in, knees to your chest, taking your time to give the legs a squeeze. Rocking a little bit side to side. You can lift your head toward your knees if that feels good for you. We'll make our way to sitting. You can roll to your right side or use the strength in your legs to rock you front to back. We'll sit up with the cross-legged position. Just take a moment to close. Bring the hands together, prayer position at the heart, returning full circle. Recalling any dedication, any intention. Observing anything that may have shifted physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Recognizing your whole being. Additionally, we acknowledge within ourselves and within one another that which is peace, that is joy, that is love, and that is light, residing inside of this space with both the knowledge and the experience that we are one with all things. Just one sound of Om will sing. Nice big breath in. Om. Deep breath, and to that light we bow. Namaste. Thank you all very, very, very much. I'm gonna unmute you guys.